We're Sarah and Kate, and we visited France and Disneyland Paris a couple of times before, but recently we travelled via the Eurotunnel in our car. We hope this video helps if you're considering driving or if you have a trip coming up. It's always best to check the current legalities as things can change. In May 2023, we stayed at Disney's Davy Crockett Ranch, and August 2024, we stayed at the Village Nature, but we have double checked our info to make this video, so any updates or changes will be added to our blog, which you can find in the description and pinned comment. So to get to France from the UK in a car, the first thing to decide is whether you want to go via ferry or the Eurotunnel. While the ferry can be cheaper, we decided to go via the Eurotunnel as times were much more flexible, it's quicker, and some of us in our party don't have the best sea legs. So what do you need to drive in France? Number one is high visibility jackets. You should have a high visibility jacket for everyone in your car, including children. These must be stored in the main car and not in the boot, so you have access to them right away in the event of an accident. Number two is a warning triangle. We had a starter kit included when we bought our car, which contained a warning triangle. However, these can be purchased easily online. Number three is a full valid UK driving license. Number four is proof of ID, which will be your passport. Everyone needs their passport, including children, to travel. Your passport should have an expiry date at least 3 months after the date you plan to leave France. You can renew your passport through the government website or ask for a form from your local post office. Number five is a motor insurance certificate. A certificate of motor insurance is proof that you hold the minimum third-party insurance for your vehicle as required by law. It is a 1 or 2 page document that you can get from your insurance company or broker if you used one. Number six is a V5 registration document. This is your vehicle logbook and is issued by the DVLA on registration of a vehicle in the UK. Number seven is a UK or GB sticker or magnet. Some cars have UK or GB identification incorporated into the number plate. Ours doesn't, so we purchased one online for around £4. If you forget this and leave it at home like we did on our first trip, they are available to buy from the AA shop inside the terminal at Folkestone. Number eight is headlight direction adjustment. As UK cars are made to drive on the left, when driving on the right in France, lights can blind oncoming traffic due to being directed the wrong way. Check your car manual to see if you will need to adjust your headlights or purchase stickers to stick onto them. Number nine is breakdown cover. We already had breakdown cover, but we'd recommend checking your current policy to see if you're already covered for driving abroad. Number 10 is travel insurance. We check comparison sites for the best deal on travel insurance and then top cashback to see if there are any offers to save a bit more money. Number 11 is snow tyres. If you're traveling in the winter and driving through a snow zone, you'll need to check to see if snow tyres or snow chains are required. If you don't comply with the law, you could be fined. Number 12 is the ETIAS. So a new rule is expected to come into effect mid-2025 called the ETIAS, the European Travel Information and Authorization System. It's not a visa and is similar to the ESTA, which is needed for travel to America. The fee is around €7 per person and there is only one official website to use, so please be careful with scams. And number 13 is a road trip essential. Although this last one is not compulsory, who goes on a road trip without snacks and a good playlist? Our favourite treats for a road trip are Pick and Mix from the Sweeties. Not sponsored, but we do like them a lot. Now, booking the Eurotunnel is very straightforward. We booked direct through Le Shuttle, which is the official Eurotunnel website. We used Tesco Club Card points to pay for the crossing, which helped us save money. The ticket prices depend on the day and time you wish to travel. Typically, the cheapest tickets are very early in the morning or very late at night, but trains leave every 30 minutes, so there's a time to suit everyone. Before choosing your day and time, you will be asked to enter either the make and model of your car or provide the registration number. After choosing the day and time window, you'll be presented with a choice for several times, providing you with the time of departure and when you'll arrive into Calais. And don't forget the time difference. France is 1 hour ahead of the UK. There are 4 ticket type options to choose from. Be sure to check the details of each ticket to see which one suits you best. Once you've booked, you'll receive a confirmation email which provides all of the information you need before you travel and what to do when you arrive for your train. Your booking confirmation will ask you to log in and complete your advanced passenger information. This is similar to the information you provide before a flight, like your name, passport number, date of birth, and so on. This must be completed for everyone travelling inside the car and named on the booking. Don't worry if you don't do this as soon as you've booked. Eurotunnel will email you to remind you a couple of weeks before you leave. For our first trip in May, our travel day was pretty relaxed, and we opted for an early crossing time to make the most of our visit to Disney Paris, aiming to arrive at Davy Crockett Ranch just after lunch. The Eurotunnel terminal is situated in Folkestone, and we decided to book a Premier Inn room the night before so we didn't have to do so much travelling the following day. The prices for the closest Premier Inn were significantly higher in and around Folkestone, so we opted for a Premier Inn at Ashford, which was on the way for us and only took 10 minutes to get from the inn to the terminal. The Folkestone terminal is easily reached via the M25 and M20. Take junction 11A and head to the check-in booths. You are asked to check in at least 1 hour and no more than 2 hours before your booked departure time. You'll need your booking reference number or your credit or debit card you used to book. On the check-in screen, there may be options to board an earlier train. Changing to another train can be free, but if it's a peak time, it can sometimes be an extra charge. You will be provided with a hanger which must be visible in your car at all times while waiting to depart and during travel. For your return journey, the Calais terminal is easily reached via the A16 motorway. Come off at junction 42 and follow Tunnel sous la Manche straight to the check-in booths. Again, you are asked to check in at least 1 hour and no more than 2 hours before your booked departure time. Once through check-in, you can head to the passenger terminal buildings for services, shopping and refreshments before boarding. In Folkestone, there is a World Duty Free, WH Smith and plenty of places to get snacks and drinks. There were plenty of options for a quick breakfast to eat inside the terminal or take with you for the train journey. The Calais terminal is very similar, with a few chain restaurants and other places for snacks and essentials. You can find the customer service desks, toilets and baby changing facilities in the terminals. This is also where we found the AA shop for the forgotten UK car sticker. I'd recommend using the toilet before boarding as there can sometimes be quite a wait. Eurotunnel cannot guarantee there will be use of toilets once on board. Next, drive straight through to British and French frontier controls, where your passport, vehicle and official documentation will be checked. You may need proof of where you're staying, so a printout of that booking can be helpful. We were taken for extra security checks, which took a while, but we still made our train in plenty of time. If you have tinted windows, roll them down before you reach security. Boarding starts 25 minutes before departure time. Follow the green arrows to your allocated slip lane ready for boarding. Depending on the height of your car, you will need to follow the signs for single-deck boarding or double-deck boarding. We were informed our car was a low vehicle on our booking reference, so we were asked to follow the small and medium signs upon boarding. We were directed to drive up the ramp and then made our way to the front of the train. This meant we were first off as they unload the top first once arriving in Calais. Once on board, Eurotunnel staff are there to guide you and give you further direction. Windows must remain open and the engines must be off. It's a relatively smooth journey, taking around 35 minutes. You are able to get out and stretch your legs, use the toilet, or you can sit back in the car and relax. Once you're off the train, you can head directly to the main road. There are plenty of signs to remind you to drive on the right, and following everyone else, you very quickly get used to it. It's all main roads to Disney and very easy driving, taking around 3 hours. On leaving the terminal, you can follow signs for the A26 to Paris and then the A1 heading south towards Paris. Take exit 6 after the Charles de Gaulle Airport onto the A104, which takes you across to meet the A4, where you simply head north-east for Disneyland Paris. There are plenty of service stations en route, and we stopped at a supermarket to pick up supplies for our self-catering accommodation. We often relied on our sat-nav and Google Maps for directions, having made sure our phone plans did not charge us extra to use roaming data within the EU beforehand. On our trip in August of 2024, as we had a late crossing and didn't want to drive for too long in the dark, we booked accommodation to stay overnight in Calais. It was a really lovely stay and the house was great, sleeping up to 6 with 1 double and 2 twin rooms. On our way to Paris, we used a toll road which cost around €25 each way. On the start of the toll, you're required to take a ticket. At the end, you enter your ticket to the machine and then you can pay by card. If you prefer to use cash toll machines, there were some available, so use the signs above and head to your preferred payment option. If you're not using a sat-nav, Google or Apple Maps, we'd recommend the AA Route Planner. The return journey is equally as straightforward. However, on our first trip, somehow we ended up missing a turning and ended up on Terminal 1 of the airport. Luckily, we were not on the runway, so after a quick lap of the terminal and some plane spotting, we were back on the A1, heading to Calais. On our second trip in August 2024, we made it there without detours. We really hope this video helped. We would definitely use the Eurotunnel again. It was a simple, low-cost option and we loved being able to pack anything and everything into the car, buy food at local supermarkets and eat off-site from the Disneyland parks, which saved us money and gave us more options. To see our reviews of Disney's Davy Crockett Ranch and Center Parcs Village Nature in Paris, check out these videos.